Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Unbettable. I am Mondo here today with Holmes, and on today's episode, we're recapping the first two rounds of the men's tournament, as well as looking ahead at the next round of the tournament. We also got studs and duds, which Holmes is about to kick off now. Holmes, who the hell is your dud for the weekend?
Dud first. All right. Well, we're gonna go with Clemson here. The first round performance that they put up against McNeese State was abysmal, to say
Yeah.
the least. And this was a matchup that I think me and you coming in there, forget what we said exactly about the betting lines for this game, but I think there was a general consensus that McNeese State had a pretty good shot here. A lot of the hype that was surrounding them, Clemson should have gotten the job done as a higher seed, as a definitely more talented team. They had everything in front of them to be able to take care of business in this game, and they did not even get close. I want to make sure I get the final score right of this game because this bewildered the hell out of me. It was 69-67. So yeah, they only lost by 2 points. It ain't that bad, right? After the first half, it was 31-13 McNeese over Clemson. They were god awful. I've never seen a team play that bad in a half of basketball. Just absolutely pathetic performance by Clemson. And the ACC as a whole only has one team left, and they're really hoping that Duke can win it all.
All right. My dud, I've been going back and forth between two. I think I'm going to stick with the popular consensus here. It's got to be UNC, right? I mean, you sneak your way into the tournament because the director of the whole thing is also your athletic director.
Mhm.
You then win the playing game by nearly 30 points. Everyone's talking shit now, thinking they're all deserving of the tournament, and they go and get fucking curb stomped by Ole Miss. I know the game, like the final score doesn't show it. That was an ass kicking that Ole
Mhm.
Miss put on UNC. There was no point in that game where UNC was in charge. So they're 100% going to be my dud. They've been warranted, well deserved of a dud. And I'm definitely going to give it to them. Holmes, who's your stud?
We might have the same one here, but I'm going Walter Clayton Jr., brother. I mean, dude, that has been a stud for the Gators for the past 2 years. We were very lucky that he decided to forego the NBA draft, come back this year and play with the team. He has been an unquestioned leader of the squad. Coming over from Iona, we talked a little bit about this last episode. He was coached under Rick Pitino. So you
Mhm.
know this dude's got the dog in him. You know this guy's got the basketball skill, the IQ, everything that you're going to want in the player that he is. And oh, not to mention, dude's a sharpshooter and a
Yeah.
clutch one at that. I was going back and looking at his point totals. He has not scored in single digits since Tuesday, January 7th. This guy has just been a pure scorer for the Gators. And when we needed him most in the UConn game, clutch, late, he hits massive baskets to help lift Florida over a very, very tough and experienced UConn team. So Walter Clayton Jr., keep leading the boys, man. Let's get a chip for this dude.
Yeah, I was going to go Walter Clayton too, but I think I'm going to switch up sports too. My stud is Malik Neighbors. He's got a quarterback out there in New York, not just one, but two. He's got Jabo, and now, as of 2 minutes ago, he
Yep.
has Russell Wilson. In the great words of Michael Jordan, the floor is now the ceiling, or the ceiling is now the floor. Either way, Malik Neighbors is going to be a hell of a fantasy target this next year, and I'm
Mhm.
100% going to be drafting him.
Yeah, he looks close to a first round, second round guy at the very latest. I mean, with just the ridiculous amount of production he put up last year in his rookie year,
Yeah.
give that dude a competent QB who is just gonna want to air the hell out of the ball, and that's Jameis Winston, boy. So let's get it.
Absolutely. Now, Holmes, there's been a lot going on with March Madness, and I think the storyline here is not necessarily about a team, but rather about sports betting. And that is, we are dominating Bet Madness right now.
Yeah, man.
We are cooking 35 and 17 on the play-ins, round one and round two. Statistically, one of the hardest things to do is go positive if you bet every game of the slate. And we did that. Not
Hmm.
just that, I promised 67% in the first two rounds. And I'll be damned if I didn't deliver.
Yes, sir.
67%. I hope everyone took home profit. Half my office did. I know that for a fact. We are cooking. Follow the Twitter. I cannot stress it enough. We are putting out bangers. Follow the Twitter.
Yeah, dude, that is all on you. I mean, you have been crushing it in these plays. You're getting great reads on a lot of these games, and even some of the losses you've taken, man, by a point or two, right on the hook. You're
Listen,
right
dog.
there. So
I
I love it, man. Keep it focused because you're right there. I love to see it.
look, we kicked it off day one with that Montana game where I ended up 2 points off the over,
Mhm.
and I just about lost my shit right away. Montana went like 2 for 20 in the last 5 minutes of the game, and it looked like bad news bears. It was so bad to watch. And I was just like, oh, here we go. This is how it's gonna go. We're in trouble. Credibility on the line,
Mhm.
and we just bounced back. we
This
just
is
bounced back.
phenomenal, dude. So many of the plays that you've had, again, great reads on everything. And I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit, but a lot of it, I think, has maybe gone the way we expected, just in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the chalk. Not a ton of upsets. McNeese, obviously, one of the biggest ones to happen. Drake over Missouri in the first round. Arkansas over Kansas, but that was one that we loved. I think you loved Drake over Missouri as well. So yeah, some of the upsets that we've had here, are ones that maybe we had a little bit of a read on going into it.
Yeah, and that's been a big complaint about this tournament is it's very chalk. Everyone just wants to call it March basketball, not March Madness, blah blah blah. Listen, there's a lot of basketball left. We just saw what happened to St. John's. That was brutal to watch. Granted, it's a battle of two electric coaches, but still, there's a ton of basketball left. People who are giving up, like this is not the time. There's going to be upsets coming soon. Trust me.
Hmm.
Trust me. Is there a specific game you kind of wanted to hit on? I know like the big ones are like the Maryland buzzer beater, BYU by 2, Florida sneaking it out, Michigan going on a run. Like what do you want to kind of narrow in on?
I don't know. I'll try to look at it a little bit here, kind of by round by round, what necessarily stuck out to me from the stuff that I watched. Um, Let me kind of look through what we got here. All right. This is actually a good one because I did want to hit on this one a little bit. The Michigan and UC San Diego game. This one was massive in the betting
Mm,
space. I think everybody and their mother thought UC San Diego was going to be able to pull this one out, and they got damn close within 3 points.
yeah.
And some could say they kind of outplayed Michigan there in that second half and really got themselves back into that game, kind of to the point where Michigan shouldn't have let Nick got that close. But I don't know. For me, I think you looked at a game like this, and with how many people that thought this was going to be the upset, this is the one. I'm just going to tend to go the other direction on that type of stuff because more often than not, I seem like a lot of that group think that goes toward the UC San Diego. I don't know if that normally pans out a lot, man. Like with McNeese, hey man, it did, and Clemson just absolutely laid an egg. But I think
Mhm.
this was one that I talked about it a little bit when we were talking about the preview show. Michigan has two 7-foot dudes, and UC San Diego doesn't have any size to be able to match up against that. That's an incredible disadvantage to them right there, and that's going to make a big difference in the game. And I think we saw that it did for the majority of it. So in the first round, that was really one that I think caught my eye a little bit, just with how much discourse was going on about that game. But really, other than that, like you said, it's been a lot of chalk. The second round game for me, dude. I mean, Arkansas and St. John's, that one was phenomenal start to finish. I loved watching that. Watching Coach Cal and Rick Pitino go back and forth at
Oh,
each other
it's
was
a
just
blessing.
awesome. It's awesome, dude. And I feel for St. John's, man, because as well as they were able to play defense at times, Arkansas kept getting buckets and St. John's could not match them. Their
Yeah.
the offensive performance from St. John's was nowhere near what they needed it to be. And unfortunately, that was a bad downfall of them. I'll let you take a little bit of the Florida UConn game, man, because that was just amazing on Sunday. What I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
nerves were rocking.
I don't know that amazing's the right word. I was stressed. I kind of knew out the gate that the 9 point spread I took was kind of iffy just because
Uh,
you know like that UConn squad's always coming to play.
mhm.
Um, and you know, throughout most of the game, they were kicking our ass. We looked terrible, turning the ball over. We missed so many free throws. I've never seen us miss that many. I
Yeah.
hope we spent the whole week working on that. But no, it just came down to the better team started showing up. Clayton was hitting ridiculous shots as always,
Hmm.
keeping us in the game. Condon, I mean, he was doing his thing, getting boards, putting up shots. It just came out to toughness, and we just out toughed them. As much as you know, Hurley's crybaby ass wants to say it was the refs, he got out coached, he got outplayed, and that's the way it is. That's March. It's how it works. It's how it's been working. And you know, the two-time defending champs, get the fuck out of here. We'll see you later.
Yeah, son. I think another good one to hit on just really quickly, you mentioned it, the Maryland and Colorado State game
Mm,
with the buzzer beater at the end, the whole controversy over travel. Was it not a travel?
yeah,
I think I'm of the opinion in a heat of the moment like that, in the heat of the game, you're analyzing it too much, looking back at it like, oh yeah, that was 4 steps. Yeah, dude, if you slow it down and look at it slow-mo, yeah, it is 4 steps. But when you're a ref on the sideline of that game in the last few seconds and all you see is a basketball play happening in front of you, you're going to leave it up to that kid to either make the shot or not. And
yeah,
you're not going to kind of put the game in your hands because that's what happened. Then it's more about, oh, did the refs make the right call? Did the refs, do
yeah.
something to force an outcome in this game? They just let it happen. Just let
No,
it play out what happened. Anybody can
yeah,
argue what they want. The kid hit the shot. If they didn't want to be in this position, Colorado State should have hit more shots. Maryland should have hit more shots. It could go for both sides. Both of them could have played a better game to
mhm.
avoid a buzzer beater at the end. But it was a fantastic game to watch both of these go head to head all game long.
Yeah, I mean the same fans that complain about the no call are usually the same exact type of fans that complain when the refs in like Chiefs games are all up everyone's asses. Like it's usually the same group that's the extreme on both ends. And when it comes down to big moments, you're right. You just got to let them play.
Yeah.
And you know that's just the way it was. It ended just how it should have been. And honest to God, like huge shout out to Colorado State. I mean, you upset Memphis pretty handedly by 8 in the first round, and
Mhm.
then you go against Maryland, who you know is a battle tested squad, and you keep it close the whole game. And you were up at the end, it just kind of fell apart. And
Yeah.
that's again March Madness. That's the way it is. It's why there's only one and done's. Like that's just how it is. So honestly, huge shout out to Colorado State. Florida is going to have a hell of a matchup. Maryland is not a cakewalk by any means.
No, sir.
Um, so I already have my plays for Thursday. I'm not going to put them out yet just because I feel like that would be bad juju because I put them all out the day of the games. So Thursday morning, Unbettable Twitter, look at the plays. But Holmes, most of it was chalk, but there were some great matchups. We loved watching McNeese. You always have that one storyline
Mhm.
with the random associate of the team. You know, it's usually like Sister Jean or this person or that person. We got the Mr. Aura, Amir, what is it, Amir Khan? I
Amir
mean,
Khan, yep.
dude's getting sponsorship deals,
I love
absolutely
it.
electric, sitting next to Spike Lee. That was the reason I knew McNeese would win round one. I like that. You could just tell going into the tournament. And then I hammered Purdue because
Yeah. Yeah.
there was no way after
No
that
way.
that was gonna keep going. So that was like the fun team to watch. I didn't really guess Drake was gonna keep doing their thing. That one I was kind of off on, and then Creighton to start the tournament with a little upset, even though it doesn't really feel like it. It technically was, but I was funny story because we haven't recorded, but I was actually at a lunch meeting with some partners of ours, and I had sat down first, and I had sat facing the bar at our little table area, and I was watching both games over the partners' shoulders. And the partner just kept turning to me going, "What's the score? What's the score? I have the over. What's the score?" It's just like, damn, bro, March is for everybody. Like
It is,
we are
dude.
so
Everybody's
about it
in.
right now.
Thursday and Friday were awesome. Having the games rolling, everybody's at work. Everybody's doing the same thing as you. It's awesome, dude.
Oh, dude, it's great. On Friday, we ordered like a fuck ton of Duffies and then just sat in our conference room. I plugged in a Roku. We had all four games up, just watching.
Money.
Oh, it was electric. I love
Watch
March
ESPN.
Madness so much, bro. So much. Um, but yeah, I guess that kind of leads us to this week, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
What game do you want to start with?
I mean, I'll start out kind of just with the Thursday slate a little bit. I mean, BYU and Alabama definitely interest me. Last round, I was wrong, at least in my bracket. I thought St. Mary's was going to have the upset on Alabama. Completely different styles of play that both of them have. Alabama, very quick run and gun, want to score up on you. And St. Mary's, they want to slow you down, play a very, very good brand of defense. And Alabama ran straight through them. It wasn't even a problem for them. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to go with BYU because BYU is now the same style as Alabama. Both of these teams are going to be looking to score 90, 100 points. I mean, I saw somebody on Twitter say this is going to be the race to 100. No defense is going to be played. They're just going to go at each other. So I'm really interested in that game to see which team will maybe step up a little bit on the defensive side and help out their team. I mean, the biggest game on Thursday, obviously, it's going to be Florida Maryland. Like we are going to be locked
Mhm.
in on that. The Crab Five versus the Florida Gators that we are just so locked in on right now because they look so good. And honestly, that UConn game was what we needed. I
Mhm.
think we would be in a worse situation. We blow out Norfolk State like we're supposed to. If we come into the next game and we just trash UConn, two-time defending national champion, blow them out by 15 points, I think a lot of complacency starts to set in. Because you
Yeah.
got the big boys. You got one of the best coaches in the game. St. John's on our side of the bracket. They're out. Man, who's left? That's what you needed. You needed those guys to push you to the edge, to put all of the pressure on you and make you show up and win the game, show why you're a number one seed. Props to them. They did that. So now you've got to feel more comfortable coming into this game, knowing that you had maybe a little bit of a clunker, a little bit of a stinker behind you. Come back now, like you said, practice damn free throws and get
Mhm.
locked in for that, man, because those are free points. We cannot leave those free points out on the table because a team like Maryland will make us pay if we can't hit those.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree with you with Bama BYU. It's going to be high scoring. Line set at 175 and a half, so I'm definitely not going to touch that.
Wow.
But I think it's going to be a great game. I do think it'll be a blowout one way or the other. It just depends which side has the shots falling. So that's
Yeah,
kind of like where I'm sitting. Maryland, Florida. Look, like you said, practicing free throws. We know it's going to be a battle. Florida, like this is the time to lock in. We needed
yep,
that game. This is it. Like, show us why you're a one seed. This is the time.
yep,
They talked about it a lot in the broadcast for Norfolk State. Like you were saying, you blow them out. You're the one seed, complacent. UConn nearly sends us home. Right, everyone kind of expected that to an extent. You survive it barely, but you survive it. And now you got Maryland, who is definitely, I would say, a better opponent all the way around than UConn. So
totally.
I'm a little worried there, but we'll see. Arizona Duke. See, I think this one is more of my race to 100 than BYU Bama. I think that a lot of points are going to be put up. Not a lot of defense is going to happen. We've seen it every year with Arizona, and this year, especially with Duke. Like, they're just going to put shot after shot up. And I really like that. I also like Duke in this game. It's on the East Coast. I just don't know where that spread feels. I'm still kind of like, I have my plays in mind, but I don't have them selected.
Yeah,
So, like, that's where I'm at. And then Arkansas, Texas Tech, that's the one I just have no feel on. Full disclosure, I have no feel there. Right, you got Calipari. He just upset St. John's, who's a defensive minded team. Texas Tech, not nearly as defensively minded. If you're Arkansas, like your shots have to be on to keep up with Texas Tech's offense. So like I really don't know where to lean there. But if you have any ideas, I'm all ears.
I'll tell you straight up, bro. I already know. It's 5.5. I'm taking Arkansas 5.5 right now, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the money, and that is just
Oh
because
shit.
Coach Cal is at the helm. Cal,
Red alert,
think
breaking news.
get it.
Stephon Diggs signs with the Patriots. 3 years, 69 million, 26 mil guaranteed. Wow.
Wow, big free agent news. Wow,
Wow.
massive news. All right, Drake May has a bona fide number one target out there. That is really big. That's really
Yeah.
big.
They're still going to come in last, but that's okay. That's okay.
Probably. All right. I mean, so to get back on it, Arkansas, man, I'm gonna take them. Like Coach Cal and these boys, I heard something today. They spent the most money in NIL out of
Mhm.
anybody. And this is the time where you're gonna need that to kind of show its head a little bit. They just got Boogie Flan back, who wasn't with them for the SEC tournament. And the healthier that he gets, the better that he's been looking and the better that the team has been playing around him. The team as a whole is getting healthier. Cal knows what it is like to be in these situations. And if you're an Arkansas team at this point, I don't love really saying this, but it's like you're playing with house money. You're a 10
Yeah.
seed. Nobody thought you were getting out of that first round. Everybody thought Rick Pitino was going to sun Coach Cal in that last game. And Coach Cal rose up and had his boys, who might have arguably been less talented than the guys on St. John's, will them to win that game. So I really like them here. I think they're playing with a lot of house money, and there's I don't know. There's just a feeling I have, a vibe around that team. I really like
Mm.
it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm taking spread. I'm sprinkling on the money line. I mean, Arkansas, I think in this opportunity is too good to pass up.
Okay. You want to send it over to Friday?
Yeah, dude, let's hit the Friday games. I'm checking those out right now. These, more that I look at these are the ones where I don't feel like I have much of a feel on. I mean, looking
So,
at these four, like I'll just start from the top. Ole Miss,
yeah.
Michigan State. I like Michigan State in this one, but watching a couple of their games, I don't feel like I'm as confident in them as I was in the beginning of the tournament. I don't think they're playing to their highest potential. And I think Ole Miss has surprised a couple of people in the past couple of
Hmm.
games. So I think that's a little bit of like a momentum thing to watch. Kentucky, Tennessee, I just think is going to be a freaking battle, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I really don't know which way I'm going to lean here because Kentucky worked Tennessee during the regular season. I mean, Tennessee had no answers for them, but now Tennessee's favored by 4.5 in this spot, which leads me to believe the odds makers have a very good feeling Tennessee should win this game and win it handily against a team that they struggled with all season. So that's a tough one there. Michigan Auburn, I'm so tempted to take Michigan plus the points here.
Hmm.
I know it got close against UC San Diego, like we talked about, but they were the much better team in that game. They were able to beat Texas A&M last round pretty handily. I mean, I feel like they can keep it close against Auburn, but I also thought Auburn was going to lose last round. I thought they were going to struggle a lot more than they have, and they really haven't. They've looked pretty damn good, and I have to give them props on that. The one game, Purdue and Houston, this game is weird as hell for me because I heard this game is being played like an hour from Purdue's campus. So this is essentially a Purdue home game, and Houston's the number one seed, and they had to travel to go play this game. I mean, Purdue's getting 7.5 points, dude. I don't know. I kind of want to take that. I mean, I know Purdue is probably not at that talent level of Houston, but just being where they are in that game, like, man, Houston really got a shit draw, I think, just geographically where they got to play.
Yeah. So, full disclosure, I have not looked at any of the Friday games yet. So, this is my first time looking at any of the lines. So, here's my read so far. Michigan State, Ole Miss. Ole Miss has been on a great run. However, Michigan State, 3.5 points, I think is definitely doable. Um, that's kind of where I'm sitting there. I also could be convinced of over 143 and a half. I think that offense will be played here. I just don't know how much. But right now I'm leaning more towards Michigan State minus 3.5. Kentucky and Tennessee, this is going to be a battle of the over. I don't want to pick a side here. It would hurt my heart to choose a team to win, so I'm just going to choose an over. Because fuck both of them. Go Gators. I know Gary would have loved that one. He would have been all for that. Pour one out for your boy. Michigan, Auburn. Auburn minus 8.5 is interesting. I could see Michigan pulling the upset here. I do feel like Auburn, despite being a one seed, is not really that great. However, you really got to rely on the big man of Michigan and just them being able to get all the boards in this game. And that's where it's kind of hazy. Auburn does have some good size. That's going to be we'll pick morning of type vibe.
Yeah.
Purdue, Houston. This is what I call the battle of the traditional fraud tourney teams. So what that means is these two are teams that always play really well during the regular season, secure a top seed, and then proceed to get fucking smoked and upset. Houston ruined my bracket a couple years ago. They were a one seed, looked unstoppable, got embarrassed. So with this game, Holmes, I honest to God may be with you. I think Purdue minus or Purdue plus 7.5, maybe the move here. I definitely don't want to touch the over under because Houston plays great defense and they're very slow.
Mhm.
They kind of shafted. Well, they did shaft one of my bets earlier for over 124, which should be a no brainer.
Yeah, right.
But I think I'm leaning Purdue plus the points. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just knowing what type of like home atmosphere it could be for Purdue. I mean,
Mm,
that just sways me so hard. It's just this tournament is all about the neutral sites. The better teams
yeah.
will, win most of the time. And neutral sites, you don't have the home court advantage. You don't have the home fan advantage. So 50-50 most of the time. So I don't know. It's just an interesting type of draw. Like Houston really got screwed with that, and it sucks because in the last game too. I do want to touch on the Gonzaga Houston game. Good for
Mm,
Houston, man, because I know a lot of people had Gonzaga in this game, and a lot of people had them underrated as a number 8 seed. Like people were
hmm
saying they should have been number 4 or number 5. They looked way too good. They were top 20 in Ken Palm, and they were
Yeah.
an 8 seed in the tournament. That was like made no sense to anybody. So when they absolutely just ran through Georgia the first round, I was like, man, this is going to be a very, very tough Houston game. So props to the boys for sticking on them with that defense because Gonzaga's guards, man, they can score, but Houston
Oh,
was
they're
able to hang
quick.
in there. So I think that was a big test for them because I think in games and past tournaments, that's where you would have seen them get eliminated. First weekend out in the round of 32. Thanks, Houston, for being a number 1 seed. We'll see you next year.
Yeah. No, it's definitely going to be a great slate of eight. I mean, this is, I guess, technically a Sweet 16, but 8 games.
Hey, games, yeah.
Um, I don't know, Holmes. There's going to be a couple upsets this round.
Oh,
I
for
know
sure. I
100%.
100% see it. I mean, a couple of the games that I can see it happening outright. Like I told you, Arkansas, like I'm putting money
Mhm.
on it, man. I 100% can visualize that happening in my head. I mean, BYU, I think, is completely live to be Alabama. Just whoever's scoring first to 100, that's my thought in that game. Like Ole Miss, the way that they've been playing, I definitely think that they can get a win there. I'm on the side of Michigan. I think Michigan can pull an upset if everything goes right for them. And Purdue's in that realm as well. The couple that I am just unsure of, obviously Tennessee and Kentucky, just the 2 and the 3. That's a tough
Mhm.
matchup for me to even read there, especially with everything that's gone on. And Duke, Arizona, I kind of defer to Duke on that one. They've been such a
Yeah.
dominant team. Cooper Flag's just miles ahead of everybody in the league. So I kind of just have to defer to that team.
All right. Well, you heard her here. That's our predictions coming up. Stay tuned on Twitter at Unbettable. Look for the picks 35 and 17. Holmes always has incredible picks. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you guys after this next round. And peace.